Welcome to the Soar podcast, the place for creative entrepreneurs with limitless dreams and unconventional stories. I'm your host, Hyde Cornell, founder and business mentor at Chiron Consulting and CEO and senior copywriter at Cornell Content Marketing. My goal is to bring you stories of what's possible so you can never tell yourself that your dreams are impossible. Welcome to episode 1 of the Soar podcast. For this one, it's just me and you. I want to give you the rundown on what Chiron stands for and what you're going to learn here. Now, let me preface this whole thing by saying I've done some seemingly impossible shit in my life, and I'm here to tell you that nothing is impossible. Now, I'm not going to prattle on like a 1990s parent telling you that you can be anything that you want when you grow up, because that's not it. We're all meant to do something. We all have natural abilities, innate skills, and purposes to fill in the world. So if you're a natural at design, for instance, but you suck at math, I'm not going to sit here and cheer you on from the sidelines of your life and say, you can be anything you want to be. If you want to be a mathematician or an engineer, you can be. No, that's lies. You can't be something that is against the grain of what your soul calling is meant to be. But the good news is you probably don't want to be the things that you're not good at. And that's okay. In fact, that's fantastic. Now, I'm sure there's something that you really do want to do with your life and that you are really good at, but you're just not taking yourself seriously enough, or you're not sure how to turn it into your calling or your career. And that's where Chiron and the Soar podcast comes in. This is the podcast where you'll hear from real freelancers, entrepreneurs, and self-employed men and women on what it really takes to forge this path on your own. At Chiron, we're striving to make the self-made path the norm and give everyone the freedom to design his or her own destiny. With each episode, you'll uncover life lessons, business skills, and real-world hacks you need to soar. Now, you're probably wondering, who the hell is this chick and why does she think she can speak about this? At least I'm hoping you're wondering that, because you should always question the source of information you're taking in. So here's the thing. I've been hustling ever since I was a kid. When I was young, I was an obsessive writer, and I'm talking like 5, 6, 7 years old. I would collect journals. I'd be writing anywhere and everywhere, collected pens. I still have zillions more than I need to this day. I was also obsessed with magic and mythical stories of heroes doing seemingly impossible things. As I grew up, certain beliefs were hammered into me, like so many of us. I was taught to work hard, that hard work was the only way to success. I was taught that school and education were the path to that success. And I was taught that it was a point of pride to earn a degree, or even multiple degrees, and get hired at a great company or work for some government agency. So from a young age, and since I was raised by 2 cops who were a psychological puzzle that I started Rubik's cubing from the age of 7, I set my sights on being a counselor in the prison system, or a criminal profiler for the CIA or the FBI. But as life does, I got thrown some curveballs. My house was a bit of a horror show growing up, and to top it off, I got kicked out of the house at 16, and I dropped out of high school. But I still wanted that badge of honor of a degree. So I busted my ass at community college and earned enough credits and fast track courses to get my high school diploma that same year when I was 16. When I was 17, I went off to college, but I fucking hated it. Like, hated it. I hated dorm life. I survived a pretty brutal assault that still kind of turns my stomach to even mention on something like this, a podcast that people might actually listen to someday. And I just wanted out. I just wanted out of college. I hated it, but I wasn't going to leave without that degree, because I still had that belief hammered into me that you have to get that degree in order to succeed. So I told my college that I was going to create my own self-study course to finish out my credits so I could earn my degree in 3 years. They said I couldn't. I said I could. And it wasn't so much that I believed in myself at that point. Rather, it was more that I saw no other options. I saw that as my way out, and nothing was going to deter me from escaping. I was fixated on that goal despite all the odds and all the people that were against me. And I did it. After 3 years at SCU, I graduated. I got my degree. I even graduated with honors. And I thankfully moved back to San Diego and put the worst chapters of my life behind me. At that point, I had been freelancing for 3 or 4 years, and I was totally unemployable. I was an emotional mess with compound PTSD. I couldn't hold down any sort of traditional employment. And honestly, I didn't really want to. I didn't want to be stuck in an office with people around me all the time. I wanted the freedom and flexibility to sleep in until noon or 1 if I was having a really bad day, or get up and go to the beach if I needed an escape. I didn't want that life. So I secured myself in an apartment and I wrote. When I was on my college campus, I was writing website copy and building websites for the various departments around campus. I had 7 or 8 different jobs for all different offices on campus. I was a math grader. I had every job that was posted on the college campus job boards. And the writing and websites were ones that I could really grab up because I had such an extensive history of coding websites. When I was a kid, I changed schools. I was in Montessori school up until like almost the end of 4th grade. And then I ended up changing schools to a public school. And during that summer, I had only been in my new public school for a couple of weeks and I didn't have any friends. And so I spent the summer teaching myself how to code. I did HTML, CSS, PHP, all that stuff. And when I was in college, I used those skills that I somehow hadn't forgotten and got myself those website copy and web building jobs. So I did that and really leveraged those skills that I had built as a survival mechanism and just focused on writing and website development from my apartment. Also, though, I should say, and not super proud of this, but hey, we all do what we got to do. I started writing college papers for people when I was in college because school and writing came easy to me, and I leaned into that. So for a while, I was a flower delivery girl. I had a gig as an over-the-phone actor for a company that trained psychologists how to administer certain psychological assessments. That gig even got me a free trip to Barcelona, which was amazing. Even though while I was there and still trying to heal myself from PTSD, and I was there by myself, I just stayed in my hotel room. So it wasn't really that great of a trip. But anyway, I get sidetracked. Eventually, I got back into website development and started expanding my more legit writing work, vowing to set the essay writing aside. In time, I built up to writing articles for health websites and car dealerships. At that stage of my freelance career, my highest earning month was just over $6,000, but I was miserable. I was writing 14 hours a day. I was earning $30 per blog post. So if you go ahead and do the math, can you imagine how many blog posts I was doing per month at $30 per post to earn $6,000? I was hurting. I had carpal tunnel. I had no free time. I was just drained. My whole life was work. And I knew there had to be a better way. I had no idea what that was. But once again, I knew there was no other option. I had to succeed. I had to figure it out because there was no way that I could continue on that path. Yeah, I had gotten to a point where I could pay my bills and I felt safe. I felt secure. My then boyfriend, now husband, he and I had moved to Texas and things were good. Things were getting better in my head, in my heart, in my body. Things were getting better. But now there was that workaholic syndrome that had become a survival mechanism that was actually doing more harm than good. And so I knew I had to completely revamp how I was running my freelance business. That was the only path that existed in my head. I knew there had to be a better way, despite the fact that I had no idea what that path looked like or where to take the first step. So impulsive, instant decision maker that I am, I fired all of my low-paying clients. I had zero income for 3 months. And I didn't know that it was going to be 3 months. In that time, I spent every spare moment researching, reading, listening to stories of how others ran their freelancing businesses, and really pulling apart all the things that really resonated with me. Most ideas and suggestions that I heard made me cringe. Cold calling, like, fuck that. No one likes receiving those calls, so why on earth would I want to make those calls? Job boards, content mills, I've been there, done that, hated it. All I knew that I wanted to do was to write for brands that I actually liked. I didn't want to write essays anymore. I didn't want to feel like I was helping people cheat. I just wanted to write legit content for companies that I actually really cared about. And I wanted to write blogs because those were fun and easy for me. And I wanted to lean into that. So I sent an email pitch to Pretty Litter. They were brand new on the market, but they had such a cool product. If you've never heard of them, it's this kitty litter made of silica that changes color based on the pH of your cat's urine. And when your cat's pH is off, it's usually indicative of a health problem. How friggin' cool is that? So I wanted to write for them, and I had a cat, so I felt like I could write from experience and craft some really fun, witty content that their customers would like. And I got the gig. With a single email and a carefully crafted proposal, I was suddenly earning 8 times as much that I had ever earned from blogging before. And I kept going. I kept reaching out to businesses I liked, kept putting my genuine self out there, and I kept earning more and more clients. Right around that time, actually, it was probably right around the time that I landed Pretty Litter. It was pretty early in this new version of my new pricing, my new business model, my new client acquisition process. Everything I was doing was new. And right around that time, this is when I was really information hungry. I was just trying to learn from anywhere and everywhere that I could. I was a member of a women's group in the little Texas town that my husband and I had moved to. And one day in that group, the group leader asked us all to write our goals on a note card. We all did, thinking this was a private exercise. And then once we were all done, she asked us to read our goals aloud to the group. And my stomach sank. One by one, everyone in the group, it was all women, and everyone in the group read off their goals. Some were lose 20 pounds, spend more time with my kids, finish my dissertation. And then I read my goal aloud. Make $10,000 a month. Everyone just stared at me. Some even let out little like you wish kind of noises. No one could make eye contact with me without this who the fuck do you think you are sort of look on their face. I felt so embarrassed. I felt like the greedy one of the bunch in the moment. And once again, I was going after a goal that nobody thought I could achieve. After all, I was only making about 1,000, maybe about 2,000 a month in my freelancing at that time. And granted, I was making way more per piece than I ever had before. But I knew 10,000 in my head, in my heart, that number felt right to me. I knew that's what I wanted, and I knew there was no other path. I saw it on my future timeline. I felt it. I knew that was something that I wanted. That was my goal. That's where my sights were set. That was the path for me, and it was my only way forward. And I believed in myself relentlessly. I knew I had done all sorts of things that people thought were reckless or impossible, or that they themselves just wouldn't allow. And I did it all. So I believed that this time I could do it again. But I left that group feeling terrible, and I actually never went back. Within 6 months, I was paying myself $10,000 per month in my freelancing business. And that was after paying all of my business expenses. So why am I telling you all of this? I'm telling you this because I've been at this for a long while. And there's something that is so, 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 so important that I've learned over the years. You can join all the masterminds, read all the books, follow all the blogs about building a successful business for yourself. You can buy the courses, you can get hooked in by the ads that promise to teach you how to build a six-figure business. But none of it will work if A, you're not doing what you're naturally meant to do, and B, your energy isn't in the right place. I've worked with so many freelancers who are amazing, talented writers, designers, VAs, social media managers. And they're doing all the right things in their businesses. But they're self-sabotaging because they're not paying attention to where their energy is flowing or what beliefs and emotions they're harboring that are holding them back. In my case, I was really lucky. I seem to have been born with this innate ability to just say fuck off to everyone else's limitations that they tried to put on me. I had this tunnel vision and this magnetic feeling in the pit of my stomach towards a goal that I knew was on my future timeline. And now that fuck off mentality for everyone else's limitations, beliefs, expectations for you, that's the thing that I want to pass on to you. You are limitless. You are unboundable. There is absolutely nothing in the fucking world that can hold you back from doing something that you truly want and believe in, other than you. So as I wrap up my little soapbox here, I want to explain why I chose the name Chiron for this platform. Chiron Consulting is a resource, a training ground, and a mentoring experience for freelancers, entrepreneurs, and self-employed. It's named after the centaur, Chiron. Like I mentioned before, as a kid, I was obsessed with mythology, Greek mythology in particular. Chiron was the son of the Titan Cronus and a nymph. When he was born half man and half horse, both of his parents rejected him and left him in the forest. Yet he didn't give up. He survived in the forest and grew up differently than all the other centaurs. While the others were savage and violent and ran in packs, Chiron was a loner, peaceful, and he cared about helping people. He was wounded on the inside, but he learned medicine and devoted his life to healing others. Eventually, he met Apollo, the god of the sun. Apollo adopted Chiron and taught him healing, archery, poetry, all sorts of things. As an adult, Chiron became the mentor and trainer to some of Greece's most famous heroes, like Achilles, Hercules, Ajax, Jason. He made his own way in the world, and he built his own family around him, and he used his natural abilities to help others grow into the heroes they were meant to be. That's what we do here at Chiron. You are the hero of your own story, and this is a place where you will get all of the advice, mentoring, information, resources, coaching, training, everything that you need to grow into the hero that you're meant to be. We all have our wounds. My story is not unique. You probably see a lot of yourself in my story. And if I heard yours, I probably see a lot of myself in you. We're connected. And we can heal ourselves and each other by deciding that we're not going to take shit from the world. We're not going to make the rules that society puts on us dictate our lives. We're going to make our own rules and live by our own code. We often have to learn that lesson the hard way. But once we do, there's no going back. I have this vision that if everyone were doing what they really loved and what their true purpose was, what their naturally given abilities allowed them to do better than all others, all the all the roles in the world would be filled. All needs would be filled. All needs would be met. And so many of the world's heartaches wouldn't exist. We would all earn based on what we love and what we're great at. And stress, the so-called grind, and the misery of living paths that were prescribed on us by society would fade away. I'm here to help you forge ahead. The Chiron community is here to lift you up. The podcast, the workshops, the social posts, all are designed to help you notch forward in your own journey, in both the business building side and the energetic side. As you listen to future episodes, I hope you'll see from our guest stories what's possible. From intuitive healers who earn more than $800 per hour, to freelance writers and designers who have designed businesses to suit their desires and their life goals, all the way to the most bizarre and yet heartwarming stories of people earning a living by doing things that no one ever thought you could earn a living from, like spinning basketballs on wine bottles. Seriously, that's a thing. Every episode is jam-packed with inspiration and business building tips. But what I really hope you take away from each story is the energy of the guests I interview. They believe in themselves. They believe in what they're doing. And they know that no matter what society says about their chosen paths, they are doing what they're meant to do. Take anything and everything you need from these stories. Leverage the resources we have for you here at Chiron and soar.